Welcome to Nature's Glory Cabin Off-Road. Today we're doing the second half. This video covers the second half of the 2025 General Bowen ride. We're doing the hard way on a couple of trails today. We're going on Clifton Road in the opposite direction we usually go. We're going up County Park, which means up the waterfalls. We're going across Amos Cut again, and then Pumpkin Hollow the harder way. Now here's the demographics, the details from the entire ride. About halfway through this is where we pick up going on Clifton. You can see our height was a high of 1,323 feet. This is the full map where we did the entire ride. The first video had all of this in there as well, and we worked our way around. Now this next map is going to show just the part we're covering today, where we start on 460W, get to Kendrick Ridge Road, Clifton Road, then County Park, then Amos Cut, then down to Pumpkin Hollow and back to Callie's. This little leg here just shows what we're doing for the first part of the video. 460 West, Kendrick Ridge Road, Clifton Ridge Road, and that one little spot there is actually where Clifton Road trail will end when we get to it before we turn on the Long Branch 4, which will start County Park and the next map when it pops up. Gonna make a left here onto Clifton. Since I'm leading this one, I'll do a lot of the video from behind. This is the first initial ruts on County Park, which are usually pretty muddy going in the other direction, and we climb these usually going out to the road. So they're not too bad in this direction. They'll load your tires up when they're good and wet. It doesn't look too muddy on this day, so we were doing pretty well. There's another set of ruts after this, and then we get to the culvert and a little bit of a slick climb. Say you piled rocks in this?
Yeah, Keith was down here a week or so ago, and there's full of rocks.
This culvert's a little tricky. It's been washed out. It's been filled in with rocks, so it's a little better than it was. It's passable, but you still need to pay attention because weather could affect it negatively. Ooh, this is going to be slick. And it definitely was. I didn't have too much trouble getting up, but again, I'm on 37s, and I don't know if I used a locker or not on this, but as you can see from evidence of the rear view camera, the guy coming up behind me, he had to hit it a couple of times, and sometimes it could be a little more work. I wasn't able to see the back of the pack, but as I understand it, there was some help that had to be provided for a few folks. Let me know when everybody makes it up that.
That mean I need to lock my hubs in?
You may not. I didn't have to lock anything in. Pretty steep and pretty slick.
You won't want to have to get out and lock your hubs in if you do need them after all.
I'll do it before I go up.
How's everybody doing back there?
Got four or five left.
Yeah, we'll hold here a little longer. Well, here we are passing the cave, and this little dog leg here, a lot of folks call it the waterfall. When it's wet enough, there is some water that comes over top of it. We didn't stop on this day. There was just too many of us, but if you watch my other videos, we stop here and take photo opportunities on a fairly regular basis. After we pass the cave, there's a few little rock ledges here that leads to a rocky hill. Again, going in this direction is not much trouble. Going up it, you'll need to watch your tire placement depending on how much ground clearance you have. But this perspective from the rear gives you a little bit of idea of how high they are. They're about a foot in places, and there's some rocks down this hill. This is the first rocky hill going in this direction. There is one more. After the rocky hill, we come to this dog leg here where there's a tree in it. There's a culvert also that has some pretty sharp edges. You're going to need to stay as far right as you can, and in this direction, your back end is going to drop. If you have longer clearance, you will probably drop your rear hitch on it. Alright, this is the last rocky hill. There's a couple of rocks on here that are fairly good size if you have a lower clearance and smaller tires, so you need to make sure you place your tires on top of the rocks so you don't drag. That one that the FJ just went over in the middle of the trail is the biggest culprit because it's right in the middle, and you'll need to navigate around it and get a tire on top of it if you have lower clearance. The rest of these are off to the side, so your tire placement shouldn't be as much of a problem. A very scenic area we have here. Several water crossings, depending on the weather. They could be higher or lower. This is our favorite one right here. It has 3 little steps, 3 little waterfalls. Most of the time you can't see the last one. It steps into a deeper pool, but the water's usually running over it and you don't notice it. But it can be, it's over my rock rail on a regular occasion, and rock rail and the GoPro, which is several inches above that, and the water will go over it on occasion. There, it went there for a second. So again, this spot can be a little deeper than others, but it's fun and very photogenic parts of the trail.
You got a copy, Mark?
Yeah, I got you.
You want to try to do Callie Park?
Hard way or the easy way?
Going up the waterfall.
Think everybody can do it?
Yeah, we'll let them do a vote, I guess.
Everybody on at least 35s? I'm okay with it. I'm not hearing anybody else.
I'm up for it.
Yeah, I'm good.
Y'all can pop our cherry.
Don't worry, you're ready.
We just finished the off-road portion of Clifton. We drove a little bit of blacktop. We turned left onto Long Branch. Long Branch will turn us into County Park, and then we're going to come all the way out on 460W on the other end. Left here onto Long Branch.
Lassie on the left.
All right, heading into the creek. Another very scenic trail with lots of water crossings. The creek, for the most part, is the trail. So pay attention to where you're at. There are some offshoots that are not part of the trail. You need to be sure you stay on the trail and you're not trespassing. That'll get trails closed. There is private property on both sides of this. Enjoy.
Well, I expected more water. is where Daryl Brock rode on the roof of my truck to cut that out over the water.
I think I just hit a door dinger.
This tree back here is a culvert pipe.
Isn't all that driveway we just passed, isn't that all private property?
Where that building is, I believe, is private property. That's why we went down the creek.
The creek is the road.
This is the first of the two bigger waterfalls. They are 3 feet, 3.5 feet tall. I guess someday I should go back and actually measure them to see. That first one's got a touch of a ramp to it, not quite as hard to get up, but again, it's still not easy. And you'll see from behind here, the FJ coming up. I don't know what kind of traction devices he has. He doesn't have much trouble with this one, but you'll see on the second one, he does have a little bit more trouble.
Made it up the waterfall and our ankles puckered.
Second one's a little harder.
Here we are approaching the second waterfall. Although it's about the same size, it's a little bit different. It's got a little bit of a left-right attitude, and it also has an undercut to it. It's about the same height, but you can see it's a little bit more difficult to get up. I did use both lockers on this and got right up it. I've done it before, and if you want to watch from behind, you'll see the FJ has to get a little more angle to it. Again, I'm on 37. About 35 is minimum what it takes to get up this easily. I heard some folks in the back had other trouble. I don't know what they had, as though we were about 11 of us and we were strung out pretty good. So the back half spotted it to help those folks get through it.
Yeah, you guys are trespassing now. You guys need to come back here and get in the creek. I'm not joking. You're trespassing.
We're almost back to the creek now.
Well, if you can get in, I guess get in.
Yeah, it's private property. It runs along the side. You can't be there.
As you'll see here in a second, there are also lots of other smaller waterfalls. I cut most of those out, but it does make for a fun ride on the trail.
And you're missing the first waterfall.
We're already back in the creek. I don't know if you can fit to get into that first waterfall there, Luke. I don't know if you can make it past that first waterfall there anymore.
Made it up the waterfall.
Okay, the second waterfall's in. Just another boring backcountry byway trail.
Just sitting on it yet.
Wondering if it was, but when we turned on it, I figured it was.
They didn't want it on there in the beginning. Now I'm working on them to get it by the end of the year.
Do we need to hold up in the front?
Should we stop and let everybody else catch up? I don't see anybody behind me.
Sure, we'll wait on everybody right here.
Going in this direction, there's a fairly rocky approach. You got to pick your way through it depending on your clearance before you get to the ruts. Again, you'll hear me on the GMRS say we're going to take the bypass on this one, and then we go up the ruts on the other one. I actually haven't done the ruts in this direction going up, so I need to do some of that someday.
All right, I see y'all now. We're moving out. I'm not going to take this first set of deep ruts. I'm going to run up the bypass on the right. That's a new tree. Some of y'all with roof racks might have trouble with that. Let me know. Once you reach the top of this hill, back to the right, there's a hiking trail, and there's 2 arches back in there.
Devil's Marketplace.
And Spratt's Arch.
This is actually a pretty fun climb in either direction. The camera doesn't do it justice. This sandstone is a pretty easy climb. Good, nice, grippy tires will get you right up it. Air down a little bit, and it'll pull you right up. These things, like I said, are nice and grippy. The other direction, sometimes you can't see over your hood, so go the first time with a experienced rider, so you kind of know where you're going to end up, so you don't kind of get a little bit more afraid, or get a spotter, somebody that can guide you down or up, as the case may be. So Pumpkin Hollow back, right?
sir. I can get used to this zero responsibility kind of stuff.
We're going to do Amos Cut again that we did coming over here, and then we're going to go to Pumpkin Hollow back to Callie's. All right, I'm rolling out slowly.
I got the rear.
Once we get off of County Park and back to 460W, we turn left onto McCausey Ridge, maybe a quarter mile later, then back onto Amos Ridge, and then to Amos Cut, work our way over to 713 and down to Pumpkin Hollow.
We're going to make a right here on 460. We're going to make a left here onto McCausey Ridge at this volunteer fire department station. Make a right onto Amos Ridge. Also 3339, same name. And make a right down here by the Flying Dutchman onto Amos Cut.
Turn at the hottest Chevy in the county.
This is really the only obstacle on Amos Cut. It's a sharp 180 hairpin downhill in this direction. My little short wheelbase JL, I can make it. Of course, I've done it an awful lot of times too. I would think most two-doors could do it once you get the right angle at it. Otherwise, you may have to pull up and back up, which no big deal. A lot of folks do.
We're going to make a left here onto 713. Let me know when everybody's caught up.
At the end of Amos Cut, we get on 713 and work our way down to Pumpkin Hollow, and this map has us getting out at the end of actual Pumpkin Hollow, and we connect with Upper Cane Creek Road.
Left onto Pumpkin Hollow. Load them up and move them out. Front's rolling.
In part one, we went the other direction on Pumpkin Hollow, and we used it to connect over to the north side. So we came down all this stuff. It's not very bad on this day. It's fairly dry, so it's pretty easy to stay out of the ruts on this day if you want to. When it's wet and sloppy, a lot of these ruts will pull you right down into them. So lesser tires will have more trouble. I have done this on 33s, but I also had a locker and limited slip. So 33s will be more challenging. Not saying you can't do it. It'll just be a little more work because some of these ruts are pretty deep when it's wet and sloppy. When it's dry, you can ride the tops of the ridges and get through it a little better. It takes 6 or so minutes to get up this hill, depending on how much trouble you have. I broke it up into 2 or 3 pieces with pieces of the rear camera in it, so you could see sections of it at a time as opposed to all of it at once, and then going back and doing the rear camera all at once. Just a reminder to everybody, be sure to pack out what you pack in, and if you can, carry out anything else you see. Try to keep these trails open for everybody else. Try not to tear them up so future generations can enjoy them. Well, as the banner there says, my front camera took a bump and caused it to shoot up to the sky. So from here on out, we're going to be all rear camera action and left front wheel if I have it available. So down this backside of Pumpkin Hollow, I don't usually record a whole lot. There's not a whole lot going on. But with the rear camera, we're able to show some ruts and a few things, and we'll see those as we get to them. This is the hill on the other side after we've come down away from the big rock on top of the hill. If you can see a rut there in the middle, there was a time a couple of years ago that there were big holes in this side, and going up it was a pretty good challenge. Right now we've got a few ruts, and the only time it's a problem, I guess, would be if you slip into the ruts when it's muddy. Right now you can see that we're riding along the tops of them, but I would say that it's subject to erosion over time. Another of the more scenic spots I tend to enjoy showing from the back or the front is these two big rocks as we go between them and we go down into a creek. You'll see them here in just a second. There's the creek, and then the rocks are coming up. There's one of them on the left, there's the other on the right coming up. We have a couple of creek crossings down here as we get to the bottom, and a new kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, slick spot that requires a little challenge to get up it. We'll see that in a minute. coming up to a new spot on the trail. Well, it's not new, but the weather over the winter has caused a little erosion, and it's a bit of a slick spot. You can see where I guess I could have took a better angle. You'll see me slip on it here in a second, and then the guy behind me also slips on a little bit. You can see it right there. We're going to get up here, and we're going to slip to the right, and we're going to reorient ourselves and pull ourselves right up and look from the rear view camera when we get to it. You can see that he's having a little trouble with it as well. He had to pull up and back up. I think the thing to have done would have been swing further out to the right and get a little straighter angle onto it and get a more perpendicular to it so you don't have that slip down effect. And the last significant water crossing here, this can be deep. If you get further off to the right on the camera, the left if you're driving, you can notice how it kind of drops off a little bit and gets deeper. So you might need to pay attention to that. If you step closer to the rock, you can stay more level and it's shallower there.
What time for the raffle?
I'm not sure. I'll have to see when we get back. But I would venture to say it's probably around 6 at the latest.
All right, we're done with Pumpkin Hollow. We're going to come out on Upper Cane Creek. We're going to go to 599 and stay on a piece of 599 over to 613, then over to 1115 North and back to Callie's.
Thank you guys for riding with us today. Had fun. We'll do it again in 2 weeks. If you're signed up, let's do it.
I'll be there.
I'm there.
Well, here we are back to Callie's. We're getting ready for the raffle here in a little bit. They do this raffle every year around 6 p.m., so they tell me. Had some pretty good stuff. Actually won a couple of things. Be sure to take care of the trails out there. Take care of everybody. Come back and like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Share if you want to. Thanks for watching.